Maybe I have. Jay, anyway, we're live. Welcome everybody back to SJJMAS number 4 with Jay Walker, who is another one of Claire Core's ex-husbands, as well as myself.
she wishes. I tell you. You know, the last time I saw her, there was a broomstick between her legs, and she was flying off, not to Malaysia.
Well, I had a creepy experience, Jay, the last time I went round to Claire's house. I was banging on the door. They're rattling on the door.
Better than banging earth.
There was nobody in, Jay, and I turned around and set off walking down the garden path. Then all of it, I had this like swoosh noise, and I looked around, and what I thought I saw a bat, but whoosh, in the corner there was Claire Core.
There you go. I mean,
So
crazy as a bat or bat wings. Take your pick.
yeah, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Jay, thank you for joining me on SJJMAS number 4.
It's a pleasure.
Jay,
I don't mind helping out an atheist who's hijacking Christmas for his own.
well, to all the viewers, I want you to know it's a lot of work doing a festival like this, and so you can super chat down below and help me out here. It's cold, and I've been in many sleepless nights here getting all this ready for you guys.
Has he started doing them this Christmas?
No, he starts on the 12th, I believe.
Ah.
And what is it, the 9th today? 10th today. So he weirdly starts on Thursday.
And is this your first one, or have you had a couple of other ones on before me?
I had David Yorkshire. He kind of kicked it off.
Yeah.
He kicked it off.
Oh, good. Yeah, and you were in the deep end within as soon as the first bell rung. God. I was listening to that with my head in my hands, thinking, God, like, what a position. I mean, you've got to sort of defend all corners in a way, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's awkward for me. I mean, Brutus is my co-host. I'm thinking, holy shit, what if Brutus is going to tune into this and hear me, and then I obviously can't just allow like a stream of just like slagging Brutus off to go ahead. But I also understand David's got a point of view. He wants to make it. He felt like he was defamed. What I do here is independent of Brutus. This is my show, so
yeah.
Well,
the thing is, I mean, the let's call it the right. Like, it's a very, very broad and getting broader kind of church, really, where like you've got, I don't know, even centrists to the right. You could call them conservative people, like who is the guy who might be going over to reform? I think he lost in the election. I forgot his name. When they had the vote off for the Tory leader.
Oh, Jenrick.
You've got him, which to some people he's not really right, right wing. But then you've got all across the board going right over, to and you obviously got your neo-Nazis, etc. But there seems to be like more and more kind of division, but also more and more different fractions. And people like Brutus, for example, and the whole thing is like split. It always has been split. But I do think, and I could be wrong, but what's happening in this country with Starmer and the Labour government is actually like helping the right unite in an organic way, where like everybody's sort of singing from the same hymn sheet, really. But what I do find good these days is the Tory party was abysmal in administrating legislation and everything. but also their philosophies on everything. And now Labour are in, and they're just as bad. They're not even a left wing party, and people now in my social circle are saying that this lot are as bad as the other lot, etc. And eventually they're going to end up with, well, what have we got? And I do think the reform, and I hear a lot of right wing going, oh, Farage, he's not ours, he's not ours. Well, what have you got then? He's better than nothing. I personally like the fella. I think he's really good. I understand he has to play by the rules, and he has to play the game in order to get elected in that sense. Legislation is probably the only way change can happen, unless you think it can happen in your bedroom, watching YouTube sort of thing. So obviously Trump getting back in, great. And the team that he's picked around, it seems better than last time, I think. Let's wait and see. But I actually feel quite more positive, more genuinely hopeful about the future. I still despair and despise looking at the news, looking at the stuff that's going on in the sport and media world, where presenters and stuff like that. I mean, I'm an old-fashioned bloke, I think. I'm becoming one in that sense, So, yeah. But in general, I actually think the last few months it's been pretty good. I don't know if you feel that way.
Well, look, it depends. It depends what you're looking at. I mean, if you're looking at the UK, to me, like this Labour government is a disaster. So there's that. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's like galvanizing the right.
that's it. Yeah,
This is the thing. I mean, it's easier to be in opposition is one thing.
yeah,
It's always easy to criticize. So you're always going to effectively your message is going to be favored when you're in opposition, because you're not having to defend all the shit that you're doing. You can just criticize the other side. So there's that. Let's just stick on the UK for a bit.
yep,
Like Farage, I mean, effectively what he has done is he's thrown a spanner into electoral politics in the UK, and this is why basically the Labour Party won. It was the reform effect. I actually
yeah,
doubt they would have won. I think we'd have ended up. I said it before. I said it before the election, a couple of months out. I was imagining a hung parliament. But before Farage announced,
yeah.
because the Labour Party is not popular. Keir Starmer is not a likable man.
No, he's not, is he? Fucking
No, he's not.
horrible.
He's horrible. He is, yeah. I mean, he's got.
And then the more he's in the media trying to look fucking not horrible, the more horrible. I mean, he looks like demented sociopath. And I've said it a good while ago. He has hatred in him, and he's using that power. Like, now, finally, I can get back at all those people who bullied me at school, or now I can he's having and it's really not working because the public. I've seen some footage of him recently. The latest, what was it? His speech when he's gone from having visions, outlooks, and not targets, whatever. He's basically, after 5 months, rewritten the Labour manifesto, and it's still the same. It's just called it like he's obviously had Saatchi on, or somebody marketing. He'd have paid £2 million to repackage the same package, but not one person in the country will understand what it's on about. Like calling it a vision or calling it something else. Or I'll look up what his three words are for it. A second, you can chat for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a disastrous Labour government. I mean, they came in and got the riots happened. I mean, that he must have thought his luck was, he must have thought, like, I don't know, what have I done? what have I done in a past life to deserve this? I finally become the prime minister, and the country starts rioting over something that effectively isn't my fault.
Oh, the Southpaw thing.
The Southpaw thing,
Yeah, he couldn't. I
incredible
mean,
bad
God,
luck.
yeah,
But the way that he handled it was his own fault. I'm sorry, but it was. And he came across as a heartless bastard. He implemented draconian uh, rules against the rest, against people rioting. Came off extremely badly handled. And then,
yeah.
of course, we've recently had the worst budget, well, certainly that I'm aware of. In my lifetime, I don't know what they were like back in the 80s or whatever, but this one with, just deciding to rake in an extra £40 billion.
Yeah, but even the 22 billion black hole was 12 and 10 billion for the train drivers or something. And like, why not give people on like the hospital cleaners or the porters or the A&E nurses? Why not give I know they had they've had a couple of decent rises, but he's give it like to the 60, 70 grand. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the sort of thing Trump would do. Like, fuck the poor, give it to the wealthy. I mean, it's like it's a stupid move. Milestone. What he did,
Milestone.
he had a lot of. He either had visions 5 months ago, the vision that we have, and now he's got milestones, and we can judge him on his milestones. Which I mean, it's all just marketing, that. But I do think the British public sees a wanker like Boris when they know one, and like you get to the point where you can't pull it back. Like Boris got to that point. You know, you even get that in relationships or friendships and stuff where it's got to the point where you can't pull it back. And I think he's pretty close. I do think the
Well,
another another
you say that,
yeah.
but let me just to stop you there, because you say that, but it only matters if you care. Like, if Boris
Yeah,
Johnson had just cracked on and the Tory party didn't care about like public approval, then it wouldn't have mattered, because they had a massive majority. Like, Keir Starmer's got a massive majority now. It only matters when your own backbenchers start pulling the knives out and you know shuffling the leader. So like Boris Johnson's problem, I mean, he was the unluckiest man ever because before Keir
yeah,
Starmer, I mean, he got into power, and what happened straight away? Boom, we had COVID-19.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, that's so unlucky. I often
But
say
I
Boris.
do think with Boris though, Stephen, like he
Yeah,
would have fucked up anyway, like leopard spots and all of that. And if it wasn't this, it would have been that. And
yeah,
yeah, with
true.
Dominic Raab and Cummins and um, them lot, it's the same with Blair and it was Blair's PR guru, Campbell.
Alistair
Eventually
Campbell.
they would fuck up, and that's a good thing with life. If you stay in it long enough, you'll get an opportunity to see who people are, and they'll get an opportunity to see who you are as well. But I think he's pretty. I don't think Starmer's got much left, and I don't think the Labour Party with all of them the women screeching on. I mean, car crash after car crash interviews. They're not intelligent as well. They don't know what's going on in the world. You know,
But can you see though a future where the Labour Party sticks the knife in Keir Starmer's back? I don't see it. I think they could just ride this out, being unpopular as hell for 5 years. I suppose the pressure comes a couple of years out from the election, and the MPs start to look ahead and see, have we got time to pull this around? If we are like low in popularity, we are on track to lose our seats. They all start muttering. They all start getting into side rooms, in back rooms, having conversations and meetings and saying, and the topic of conversation, like, when they're having their pints in the Westminster bar, is are we safe at the next election? And if they don't think that, and they think there's time to pull it around before the next election, they think about shuffling the leader.
Do you think the left-wing side of the Labour Party is dead and good, like Corbyn and them lot?
I don't know.
Because that could rejuvenate them the same way as what happens with the right, where if centre right isn't working, then like it leans over more desperate measures are needed. So it could be that the left wing of the current centre left party like start getting itchy feet and stuff like that. But also with Trump as well, I do think that's going to influence quite a bit of stuff worldwide, which will not be in. And I don't think Trump likes or has any respect for the Labour Party, especially like Lammy and Starmer and all that stuff. And yeah, he'll get his photo taken with him, shake hands, but nah, you know, that's just nonsense. And I wouldn't be surprised if Britain takes a bit of a hit, which I don't mind, to be honest. Through trade negotiations, etc. But it just means that there's going to be more and more crap for Starmer to deal with, and I think he could be gone. I don't think he can handle it as well. He looks like he's about to cry. He looks,
he always has that look on his face as if he's seen a ghost, or he's just like been told that somebody's run over his cat.
Well. There was a boxing match the other night, and I forgot the name of the guy, British guy, but he's not that good. He's won all of his fights by decision, and he was fighting for world championship, and he got stopped in 6 rounds. But I saw a video of the corner, and credit to him, he was honest. He came back after the 6th round, sat down, and he was nearly in tears, and he looked at his trainer and he said, I don't want to be here.
I saw that. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to be here.
And I thought that was quite, nice is a crap word, but I thought it's quite honest to say that. And then the trainer, I think, said, "Oh, you'll be all right, another round." But it's just like no, and they pulled him out, and that's like Starmer. Starmer started to look like I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And the female journalists are really bullying him. That the ugly one off Sky, it looks like a cow, like buck teeth. And before the election, they were all like nice to him, and they and the blonde one off Sky, and Starmer looks absolutely like so enraged when these women dare challenge him. After all, he's filled his cabinet with women. They should be being nice to him.
Yes.
I don't mind the left. They seem to have like kind of principles in a way. Like I don't maybe like some of the politics. Yeah, like I don't. I mean, it gets back to it's similar to National Socialism, some of it as well. And I've got like a bit of time for some of that. Not the secondary bits, but but there's some elements of like people earning good money, like everybody who contributes being rewarded fairly, so like say for example, and I won't go into details, but like you've got certain talents in your life and you're able to do certain line of work. Other people could be the same. They could be a cobbler. Other people could be like electrician. Other people could be a farmer. Like, we all kind of do what everybody else can do. So, but we all as important as each other. So when I see like footballers earning 300 grand a week and not even playing for a season, like that's the extreme of how wrong it is. But I do think there should be a closer gap between like working and those that contribute to society should be rewarded where they can live well, and that's not going on at the minute. Years ago, on average, it was 10% of your income went on mortgage or rent. And these days,
Yes.
it's getting up to fucking 80 for some people, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Well, yeah, I mean, the cost of living crisis is a real thing. I mean,
yeah,
this is where we say, like, that the boomers don't. This is where the meme of like the boomers don't understand what it's like comes from, because they don't realize how good they had it. They could leave
oh, I
work.
no, 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 I do, and I've offered to rent Brutus the room out.
Ah, you
Hey,
might take it. What would you do if you
hey.
took it?
Well, I don't think you'll be able to afford it.
Well, there's that. Yeah. Look,
No, no,
just to make
Stevie,
my, yeah.
I know how good. And do you know something? I've been hanging out with
You
my
know how
mum.
good you had it.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, how
Yeah.
can you not?
Yeah. Boomers could leave school and walk into a job. That's the difference.
You could leave. I mean, you could leave school. I mean, I think I don't know what. How old is a boomer, by the way?
I think um, let's just check out boomers. Um, the youngest boomer was born in 1964.
I was born in '67.
So you're Gen X.
Right. So boomers now are 62, about something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You're Gen X. Boomers were 1946 to 1964.
Yeah. That's and my parents were probably before that, but
Yeah. But you're an old Gen. You're older Gen X. Like I'm an older Zoomer.
got it. Got
Yeah.
it. I
So
mean,
yeah.
things. I mean, experience is good in hind. You know, using hindsight, you can look back and like. But compared to today, see, I didn't live a normal life in terms of getting a job. Like my thing was to avoid getting a job, but just to survive. Like I'm not a good example, but there are people who I know who were not bright at school, who like
Who
were,
made it?
and now I mean they're up to fucking like millionaires in terms of like property and like and I mean we talking nurses and teachers and stuff, but
Yeah.
people like friends who I know will are getting big lump sum retirements of like upwards six figures, and they're living on pensions of 60 grand a year, and mortgages paid for and everything. But that ain't going to happen anymore. You
No.
know, I mean, it's it, and my parents like, but then everything was cash. You scrimped and saved. You worked hard. You know, there wasn't central heating. Certain things were. I do think. I do think people look back on it, and you see, I hear Brutus going about boomers, fucking boomers, boomers, boomers. You know, and in 10 or 20 years, he'll be the boomer. And there'll be people younger than him now who are now
Yes.
10-year-old saying, well, what the fuck did he do? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
he caused when his era, you know, put taxes up and all that, whatever. So like it wasn't as good as, and a lot of people are jealous as well. A lot of people are jealous looking back, but um I mean, I moved to London, for example, when I was 20 or 19 or whatever, and living in a fucking bed, like not a bed sit, there was three of us in a room in Stratford, Forest Gate, Stratford, and we were there for 3 months before we found our bearings. And then, I mean, busking, Tottenham Court Road, Oxford Circus, running away from the tube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it it's not um it's not a bundle of fun. I had a window cleaning round when I was 11,
Yeah.
and the it's not like, oh, leave school at 16, get a job on 70 grand a year and buy a house with loose change. You know,
No, absolutely, absolutely.
it's not
But
so.
but there
But
were but there were careers
oh
open
God, yeah, man,
to people. Yeah.
yeah. Like, oh, it's a ton. Listen. It was a lot better. A lot of things were better, but you didn't have any immigration. You didn't have any like the crime. So like the it was a different world. It was a different world, a lot better. Believe me, a lot better. And that's why now, and I think David Yorkshire's really good with this because he, like me, remembers it. I mean, it's painful on a daily basis putting the TV on and thinking, what the fuck has happened? Whereas my like younger family in their 20s now think it's normal that people are being let in the country on dinghies, like because they've got nothing to compare it with.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you've got when you're older, you'll be able to compare 2050 to 2024. So if it continues to decline, you could say, I remember in 2024 when a person's mortgage and rent was only 70% of
Oh
their
yeah.
salary,
Exactly.
whereas now it's 90.
Yeah.
You know,
The the double whammy with the boomers, here it is that they had it so easy, relatively. In fact, it just in terms of cost of living. So they could
yeah,
walk out, the availability of jobs, and they could walk out of school. Like my granddad talked to me about, he left school and went. It doesn't sound like a wonder. This isn't like a wonderful example. I get it because it's hard work. But my granddad left school and went straight down the mines.
yeah,
But he was incredibly well paid for it. He was like, I know, back in like, I don't know, 1970 or whatever, earning, 500 quid a week.
Stephen,
They, the,
I'll send you a picture of my granddad. Right,
yeah,
he is in a cage with 16 other blokes who I assume they're coming back up on a Friday, right?
yeah,
They sweat the coal on them, and they go down in winter on a
yeah,
Monday morning.
yeah.
It's 7, 8 in the morning, black dark. They get out at 4 o'clock, say black dark. They wouldn't see daylight till Saturday morning.
So I guess this is a bad example because, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to do that kind of work. But what I'm saying is there were like just opportunities available to people, to her.
The normal jobs were much better. Teacher, medical, like as in nurses,
Yeah.
stuff like that. All of
And
the jobs
you
like
didn't have to pay for
electrician.
your tuition. You didn't have to pay if you wanted to go to university. That was free. If
Yeah.
you wanted to get
Mhm.
caught, training for this that you could get it. And then the other thing is that houses were about like 3 to 4 or 5, depending on where you lived in the country, times your salary. Versus now, a house is like 10 to 15 times your average salary.
Yeah, yeah, that was
So,
the start. Yeah. Oh no, it was definitely a lot of things were better then. I'm under no illusion, but I'm saying that it wasn't like
but But there's nuance to this, Jay. There's nuance to this. I said there's a double whammy with boomers. The other aspect about them is that they're running the country now. So like they had it so good, and they're giving it to us so bad. So it's like a double whammy. Do you get
yeah,
me? They had it really hard, and they're now in charge of the country, and they're telling us to like pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. You know,
yeah. No, no,
after
I've
selling
not
the
thought
country down the river.
that's a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And especially when COVID-19 hit, and like they bankrupted the country basically to give grandma an extra year of life.
yeah,
I decided that the next generation would pay for it. So this is where the resentment of the boomer like comes from, on the right wing, on like the Chans, and
yeah.
amongst Zoomers.
Mm.
They feel that
No,
double
no,
whammy.
I hear you. Yeah. Where are you at with Christmas? Some of my friends have said they're not going to bother putting decorations up and stuff like that. I must say, I'm not one of those types. Do you look forward to Christmas?
Um, yeah, I mean, I look forward to it. I think you have to be like an old fucking Scrooge to not feel the like
Yeah.
the the um the niceness of the festival, the joyousness of the festival. I was talking to Brutus about this, in
Mhm.
that, I think our ancestors were very smart that somehow they positioned this festival like in the deepest of darkest of winter, just to like get you through it,
Yeah.
because like the nights are dark, the weather's miserable, but all of a sudden we've like got this festival to look forward to right in the middle of it, and then once you're on the other side of it, it feels like the winter's kind of on the other side, and where
Mhm.
you can even though you're still in winter in January, you feel like you've got the worst of it over with, don't you? And you're like
Yeah.
looking
No.
ahead to the next year, and it's so like it's this like perfectly positioned festival just to kind of try and lift everybody's spirits right in the darkness of winter.
Yeah. I get on. I kind of go on a diet, or I focus on my health massive over
Oh,
December.
really?
Yeah, it's a brilliant
Wow.
time to do it. Yeah, you look at all the fatties and you're doing good. Yeah,
Yeah, I
uh,
go the opposite usually,
yeah.
unless
No, and
yeah,
it's motivating to see people wobbling out the pubs, and then
yeah,
in January, which is the biggest suicide month um, in the country, the credit cards bills come in around the 14, 17, and
yeah,
people sort of put their life on hold, like, oh, there's no discipline in December, and that's why people like it in terms of food and alcohol, families, and
yes,
there's loads of fights and divorces and stuff. But I think it's a good time to get on it, and then why wait till
yeah,
January to do what you should be doing anyway?
yes,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
I
Go
saw
on.
you post something about, oh my God, my memory. The American guy who won his fight, UFC, the
Go
little
on.
white fella.
Oh, Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, he's the country blood. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how did he threw him up in the air and landed on his head or something, didn't he? It was a bit. How did he do it? Then he punched him the left hook on the floor and knocked him out.
Yeah, the guy jumped up, got him around the waist with his legs cross-legged, and I think tried to pull him down, but Bryce just picked him up, body slammed him to to the floor, and then it was like one punch, and then one or two elbows, and the ref jumped in.
Yeah, because he was doing really good, Bryce Mitchell, and then he lost the fight, and I watched that. I thought he might lose. He was facing a
Yeah.
really hard puncher, and I think he's lost like two or three or something. So I know that the Dana was really pushing him to, you know,
You know
be
who? You know that was that he won against, though, don't you? That was a Gracie.
yeah, 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 yeah.
A for people who don't
BJJ.
know, one of the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, the Gracie family founded like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, effective, or
But
made it what it is today,
isn't it a bit like
popularized it.
isn't it a bit like Ernest Hemingway in Cuba, where like every bar you go into in Cuba, it's Ernest Hemingway fucking lived here, wrote here, and all of that. And it's with the Gracies. I mean, like even in my small circle in London, I must have met like seven
Yeah.
fucking Gracies, cousins of cousins of cousins. And if I call myself Jay Gracie now, people will start bowing down to me, like in case I, out of respect for it all, and I get it that it's a martial art, and I respect all that, but by God, it's like it's been blown up a bit. I mean, they were in the early ones, weren't they? Like UFC
Well,
2 and stuff, where I
yeah.
think one of them fought Tank Abbott and 200-pound difference or something.
I hate it, Jay. I hate Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I hate
I do.
jiu-jitsu. I just can't
you,
stand it.
why do you hate it?
Because it ruins fights. It ruins a good
Shit,
fight, a good
innit?
stand-up fight. It is. Surely everybody agrees. These fights that end up on the ground are fucking boring. It's dog
Hey,
shit.
hey, have you heard Bob Arum talking about it?
No, what's he say?
I guarantee, right? If I'll send it to you, and
Yeah.
if you can watch that and not laugh, you're getting £10 in the post from Jaywalker.
All right. Okay.
It's
I'll take the
fucking
challenge.
Bob Arum, right? He's describing it's
Yeah.
Ariel
So,
Helwani. I think it's in the New York Giants or the baseball stadium, and Aram just like lets rip on it, like why he hates
yeah.
it, and it's
Oh,
completely like
so.
funny.
Well, just in case anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, jiu-jitsu is where you, I mean, how do you describe it? You grapple on the ground with people. Okay, it's submission. It's a martial art of submission.
Stephen, can you
Meaning,
hold the fort for 60 seconds? I'm just going to switch my oven off.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you talk about jiu-jitsu.
yep.
I'll be back in a second.
Jiu-jitsu is where you get somebody on the ground and you submit them. You use various maneuvers to submit them and make them tap out. And the problem with it is that it's, apart from it just being gay, it's this. Yes, it's good, okay, but as a martial art, it's good to learn some submissions and it's good to learn some takedown defense because if you can get somebody onto the ground, you can get them in a headlock, you can get them in some kind of hold. I mean, we just have the case recently of Daniel Penny. Is that his name? Who in the US subway got that black guy on the ground. He's just been found not guilty. He was doing a form of what effectively is jiu-jitsu, getting somebody in a hold on the floor, and you apply a hold to keep them restrained. And it inevitably, in a real situation, it's extremely dangerous actually in a real situation because some kind of neck lock, effectively, if you're compressing the neck, it's called a blood choke. Then they go unconscious, and if you do it a bit wrong, they're gonna die. They're going to, the moment that you're stopping blood to the brain, everything is very risky.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like watching jiu-jitsu, and I also don't like watching gay porn.
Well, this is my point. I mean, look, this is like low-hanging fruit to say that. So I was trying not to go there, but the reason I never got into jiu-jitsu is because if you do go and practice jiu-jitsu, then you're spending like whatever, the hour and a half that you train, 2 hours that you train or whatever, like hugging a bloke.
No.
This is what you're doing, and I just could never go. I'm sorry, this is just not my idea of fun. So, I'm just not interested in rolling around on the floor with a guy for what amounts to like, your entire training life. I just don't want, just not interested. It just puts me off. Just not interested.
Yeah, and it's hard.
I mean, I'm a loner. Go on.
It's hard to understand as well, like, when they do the arm bar, I know what that is,
Yeah.
but I don't know how they get it. And there's so many different moves in it. That I don't understand, like I don't even want to understand. But you're right. I mean, I'm a boxing fan. That primarily that's my sport, and that's pretty. Who do you think is going to win the Tyson Fury Usyk rematch in a couple of weeks?
Well, I want to get onto that, but I just want to show you about jiu-jitsu. I mean, this is what I've got a video here queued up. This is what jiu-jitsu has ended up being effectively. So here we have, on the right-hand side, Mikey Musumeci, who is one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world. And this is what a jiu-jitsu fight has effectively devolved into.
Musumeci butt scoots early here, Dragon. Usually that's an Imanari game plan in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, Musumeci said that's what he wants to do. He wants to try to put Imanari in his guard. He knows that Imanari is a...
So what do you think to that? A guy on his butt, scooping around. You know, it's just... This is the state of modern jiu-jitsu. This is known as what's called pulling guard, which means that these people, they don't... It's easier for them to like get you in a hold if you know if they're on the floor, basically. But this is the state of modern jiu-jitsu. So
it's horrible, isn't it?
it is. It's fucking nightmare. Somebody says in jiu-jitsu he would lose, but in MMA he can get away. Well, that was a pure jiu-jitsu fight there. So in that fight, that guy can't go up to him and like kick him in the head. That's the difference. I don't know if you can do that in the UFC. Actually, can you kick somebody on the floor in the head?
You know, if they've got their knee on the floor, you cannot. But you can kick them in the head if they haven't.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. There's reasons why martial arts exist and why sports versions of martial arts have various rules. And there's reasons why, like, that it mainly is like a stand-up sport. Now, I get it that the UFC is more geared towards, like... It's more geared towards trying to be what would be a real fight, no holds barred. Now, it's not no holds barred. There's still lots of rules in the UFC. If you think it's like no holds barred, you're not seeing what's going on. There's so many things that you can't do. Like you can't even punch somebody on the back of the head, obviously, because, you know, that can like be brain damage. So there's still lots of things you can't do, and the rule set is there in order to, A, protect the fighters and try, you know, nobody has to die in a fight, but also rule sets are there to make fights interesting, and it's the reason why something like Muay Thai or boxing or whatever is a no knockdown, you know, a no fight on the floor sport, because it keeps it interesting. That's half the point of it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it's not interesting. It's something that. But saying that, in the last few years, I've started watching American football, and years ago, I just did not like understand, get it, or even want to. So we do change anyway. But if I ever send you a I can't even say the word jiu-jitsu fight, please block me.
Yes.
Well,
I'm glad we agree.
You know what? Recently.
Yeah,
I've started not even working out stuff. So I don't like jiu-jitsu. Like, why not? I just fucking don't. And like, it's a lot of things. Like, you can say, "Oh, I'm against mass immigration." Why? It's like, and I can't be bothered to go in. It's just maybe it's just getting older and tired, but I just can't be bothered to like have to explain to. I don't mean now, but I mean like in general. Like, if something's right or wrong, it's good or bad. And, you know, I've got experience in a lot of areas. I've done different things. And, like, you kind of know, you know. But I think we live in a world today where it's almost scary to dislike something and to have to publicly explain it, or in a social thing in case you get ostracized. I mean, I hang around and I do various sporting things with some, you know, liberal, mainly females, actually, and even today, I mean, the conversations that go on, they're incredible, you know. But it does get difficult at times. But jiu-jitsu is awful, and I think as well, it's for the little man, isn't it? Like, they all tend to be little, like. And it's like our way of being able to beat a man who's bigger, tougher, and quicker. What I can do is climb on the back of his head, put my legs around his fucking chin, and like make him walk through the desert until like he collapses, and then I'll kick him in the head and win. It's like horrible.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that fights devolve into it, but they all end up devolving into, you know, grappling on the ground and becoming uninteresting. And so these fights end up favoring the jiu-jitsu guy. And people will say, well, that just proves that jiu-jitsu is like the ultimate martial art then. But it's not, actually, because, like, again, with no rules, with no rules, you're like, you could get, when you're trying to like put me in an armbar or whatever, you could get elbowed on the back of the head, or your eyes gouged out or whatever. It's not, so there's all these things in place that prevent like a real like street fight from actually taking place. Of course, we need that so that people don't die. There's no need to die to prove who's the better fighter. We need these rule sets in place. That's, if we're not going to have those, then let's just get rid of the referee and get rid of time limits on rounds and everything. So obviously there's a reason for rule sets, but the idea that it proves that jiu-jitsu is just like the ultimate martial art is just bullshit to me. And what I tweeted the other day was that it was great just to see Bryce Mitchell just like, blow jiu-jitsu blow the fuck out of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, no, we
and
could
the
maybe
Gracie as well.
We could maybe start a political party, and our manifesto is to outlaw and make illegal jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you don't like jiu-jitsu, then there's Muay Thai, isn't there? You see, this is the difference. Muay Thai is everything except jiu-jitsu going for it.
It's nasty. That's the. I mean, I've seen some fights, fucking hell, and I mean, it's just like something. The way obviously you do. I mean, I've been kicked once in the liver, and I was on the deck. I mean, I'm really, really ill. Them knees, the head clinchers, and then the knee up to the stomachs and. But there's like 12 of them in a row and stuff like that. It's Jesus. It's quite a hard watch. I think boxing is quite civilized, to be honest, compared to Muay Thai.
It is. Yeah. So Muay Thai has, it's known as, what Jay's talking about is the clinch. So you can, I guess it's like it's nothing like jiu-jitsu. It's standing, grabbing. In boxing, if you get hold of each other, the referee splits you up. In Muay Thai, if you can clinch, you can grab hold of the other person, you can lock arms, and you can continue to fight. So there's fighting in the clinch. But yeah, if you don't like jiu-jitsu, there's Muay Thai. It amazes me that like the UFC became more popular than Muay Thai, but
really,
everybody, yeah, it does. I mean, because Muay Thai has, I mean, I think if it was a much more European sport, I mean, there's obviously European kickboxing that kind of had its golden day, and it's become
that was mainly like Dutch Holland, wasn't it?
Dutch K1, Dutch kickboxing. But that, the golden day of that was like before my time. So there's definitely revival now with Muay Thai because it now has a billionaire backer. The One Championship is the biggest promotion in the world.
Yeah.
It has a Thai billionaire who runs that, and he tries to make it his model is the UFC, and he puts on, they have big shows, in all the razzmatazz they rival the UFC. He pays fighters big purses that somewhat rival UFC money. It's still not on the scale of UFC money, but it's getting there. He offers like best fights of the night bonuses of $50,000.
That's literally the same as UFC, innit?
Yeah, and he'll pick 3 people from a fight, from a fight night, and just hand those out. So there's like for the first time ever in Muay Thai, there's money to be actually won. I mean, there never used to be any.
So, do you think the standard is going up since this guy's got involved?
That's a tough one. I mean, the highest standard of Muay Thai is always in Thailand, actually, without a doubt. This is all about the promotion side of it, is what I'm talking about. There's finally a popular promotion that is, with a proper rankings and getting, bums on seats and viewers and, although,
Yeah.
because if nobody's watching, nobody can be paid, Jay. You see, that's the thing.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the argument with women's football and women's sport. They can say what they want about it, but the majority of it is nobody goes, and
Exactly.
and eventually it does come down to revenue, TV, media, sponsorship. Sponsors, you don't sponsor something where no one's going to turn up,
Yeah.
So someone like Claire would struggle to get sponsorship.
Yeah.
So well, it's good. It's good if it's getting getting more. What do they show one on? Is that on
Amazon Prime.
Oh, is it? You're joking?
No, it's Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And and of course you can watch them on methstreams.com.
Oh, yeah. you watch.
No, don't do that. Don't go. Definitely do not go to methstreams.com. I would not wish to promote that and watch like the Usyk fight and watch, God forbid anybody watch the Mike Tyson fight on methstreams.com for free. God forbid. By the way, that we've not even talked about the before we talk about Usyk. What did you think to the Tyson fight?
Well, what can I say? I wasn't exactly looking forward.
Did you watch it for one?
I'll tell you what happened, which says what I was thinking about it. I woke up on the Saturday morning and the headlines were Jake Paul outpoints Mike Tyson. I didn't even know that it was on the Friday night, Saturday. Like I assumed it was going to be Saturday, Sunday. So
yeah,
that would never ever happen if it was something I was into. I saw some footage of it. I was quite distance away from it. I don't know what I think of it, to be honest. Like, I don't know.
So did you see it? Did you see it in the end, the full fight?
No. Sorry, to answer your question, I must have seen a minute of it in segments on YouTube, and I just didn't like watching it. It's not. You know something? I'll be honest with you. It's this Jake Paul. I hate his name. I hate his fucking haircut.
Hate his face.
I hate his face. I hate everything about him. He looks like he's been in a microwave. He looks like he's overblown, like bloated. And his speech, his accent, his ginger yellow beard, his ginger teeth, he's like, and he's actually doing something in a sport that I love, and I find that disturbing. And so it's not so much about Tyson; it's more about watching him or listening to him. Fucking all, and his brother.
Oh my God, I know.
They look like inbreeds, like horrible. I'd like to see them get poleaxed. I mean,
well, we'll disavow that. I mean,
I mean, in the boxing ring, I mean,
in a sanctioned,
I like to see them get beat. But, I mean, they fight dead end boxers and MMA, UFC guys, threatening to fight Canelo and all, and that, Fury and all of that. They end up fighting, Mike Tyson. I mean, I saw Mike Tyson fight in Vegas, yeah, and like I was saying to someone the other day when he came into the ring, I mean, you kind of buy them moments. Wait, you did? You buy a fucking ticket, but it's priceless stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And like, and this was when Tyson was just out of prison, and you know he wasn't at his best, but he was still a long way better than what he was at the end, and he still had that madness and the whole like evil, and his whole energy was like massive. I mean, huge. And so the Mike Tyson that we saw last week is years away from the Mike Tyson that we know.
For me, right, I mean, there's a couple of takes here. I did watch the whole thing. It was at something like, it ended up being something like 6 a.m. or something. I forgot. Whatever it was, it ended up being 2 hours later than, you know, I was like waking up and going back to bed and setting a half an hour timer. But I watched it. Oh, yeah, I hate it. But I watched it. For me, a couple of things. It reinforced, you know, just how much age matters and how age makes you drop off a fucking cliff. You know, once you are like, you know, and no offense into it, anybody out there watching or whatever, you know, and whatever, I get it, you know, being old, you know, getting old sucks, I get it, but, you know, it really sucks in sports. It really sucks as a sportsman. And I mean, I get it now, you know, like even I feel almost past it compared to like when I was in Thailand, Jay. Right? I mean, people don't realize what I talk about, that, you know, that I've done Muay Thai. But I think nobody out there, literally nobody, even if you listen to me all this time, has any idea just the level of fitness that I had for a period of years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like when I was out there doing Muay Thai, I mean, every single morning we would do a run up to the Big Buddha, which was like 10K every single morning.
In the heat.
Yeah, every single morning. You know, and then get a bus back down. And that's basically uphill jungle style.
Hey, I tell you something. These days, the fucking bus ride would tire me out.
So I just get, you know, and I was just like, you know, enthusiastically doing it, you know, like, so I just don't think people get like the level of fitness that you are at your peak when you're young and, you know, in your absolute prime for that period of years.
I went to the gym on Friday, and I went on the bag, and I could see myself in the mirror, and I was very appalled at how awful and slow I've got. Right, you know, you've got like a double jab and a right hand, like bang bang back. Yeah. It was exactly the same as if I'm going jab, jab, right hand. Yeah. Like I could not go like bang. It was like, and I think fucking hell. When you're at my age, you go to I swim most days, but you do stuff so you don't seize up. It's not about fitness. It's about health, and it's about making the road to death as easy as you can.
Holy shit! That sounds bad, Joe.
Listen, I tell you something.
You're not painting a good light.
You want to try being in here? It's true though, Stephen. I mean, like, look at old people like hunched up and you know. And it was my physio said to me a couple of years ago. He said, he gave me do this, and I asked him, well, which ones? He says, do them all. Just move. like move your body all the time. So it's like tiny bit of stretching, tiny bit of like swimming, bit of this, bit of that, a lot of just movement, like nothing, not putting any great stress on the body, not overtraining, as in like these long bike rides I used to do. I've stopped doing the long swims, and I feel good for it. I feel better, but if I was to overtrain, you know something, I don't think I could overtrain. Like you have to have some level of fucking fitness to overtrain, and I'm in good condition. That's the thing. I mean, like it doesn't sound good, Stephen, but I was going to ask you actually, are you still like going to the gym and keeping like in not so much fighting condition, but are you still keeping like in reasonable like aerobic shape? Seeing as
I'm
you're
in.
not fighting anymore.
Well, I'm about 76 kilograms, which is the heaviest I've ever been.
You used to fight 68 or something, didn't you?
Oh no, I used to I used to fight at 61.235.
That's 10 stone, isn't it?
That's 135 pounds. Under 10.
Jesus.
10 stone.
So 147 is 10.7. So take off 12. So yeah, you're good, yeah. My ego weighs more than that.
But you have to understand, 4 and a bit kgs of that usually is just water weight. So I would get down. If anybody's followed my weight cuts, I did the last couple of them publicly. I was sharing it as I went along. I did a Telegram group following me along. I weight cut down to 65 kilograms. So I always stay, and that's usually a 5 kg weight cut. So I would stay at 70. I'd try to be at 70 kilograms. That would be the weight that I'd try to carry. And then I know that I'd be always just 10 weeks out from being able to then water weight cut the 4.5 kgs down within a week.
Got it. So 4.5. That's getting on it's nearly a stone. It's about 12 pounds, isn't it? 11 pounds or something.
Yes.
2.2 times 4.5, which is about 11, I think.
Yeah, it's about a 5% water weight cut in, and just do that over 5 days, just by drinking water. You start on the Sunday, just 2 gallons of water on a Sunday, 2 gallons on a Monday, eating no salt. 1 gallon on a Tuesday, half a gallon on a Wednesday, nothing on a Thursday, and then go and weigh in, and suddenly you've lost 4.5 kilograms, and if necessary, on the day it's sauna, and even on occasion resorted to like Epsom salt baths, to even suck even more water out of you. But I hate all that, and so I always avoid. That's like when you need to do like a 10% weight cut, which is like what a modern day UFC fighter will do. In the final week, going into a fight, they'll be doing a 10% water weight cut.
Oh, like 20 pounds and stuff.
And it's brutal. It's fucking brutal. Oh my God. I think the most I've done is something like 7% maybe. Wow. I can handle 4 or 5%, no problem. Because everybody's doing that. Everybody is doing the like 5% water weight cut. If you're not, people say, well, why even bother? Because if you don't do that, then on the day you're effectively fighting somebody who's 5 kilograms heavier than you. Mm-hmm. So it's a no-brainer. If everybody's cutting weight, you have to cut weight. So there's no getting around it. But the interesting thing about the one championship, Jay, is you know, we were talking about earlier, the one championship doing the Muay Thai promos, they have a hydration test. It's not just a weighing test, it's a hydration test. You have to be at weight and hydrated. So you can't do the massive water weight cuts for the one championship.
Gotcha. And is that like, because boxing changed the weigh-ins for fights to the day before, as opposed to the day. I was talking to Michael Watson on the Thursday in the gym, which is no longer there. It's now a German. It's actually called the German Gymnasium, oddly enough, behind King's Cross Railway Station, where Mickey Duff, who was the promoter of the day, Bruno and all that stuff, he used to have his fighters there. And Michael Watson, and this was 2 days before the fight that he had with Eubanks, where he got knocked unconscious. But he was saying to Eric Seacom, his trainer, that he'd had a mouthful of water and half a carrot on the morning. Yeah, so he was he was nearly 13 stone on the Thursday in the gym, and he had to get down to 12. So I don't know if he weighed in on the Friday or the Saturday morning then, but the thing with the dehydration is the
brain is the last thing to rehydrate. Yeah,
the cerebellum. And so, but even if you really dehydrated and you drink water, just say Saturday morning, it won't get through fully into your skull till like hours later. It takes time, and by then you might be 300 stone full of water, which you can't fight. So you kind of like you kind of dehydrate, and then suddenly like, well, hey, drink tons of water, because then you'll be a blob. So
this is why they moved it to 24 hours. You know, the weigh-ins 24 hours before, because it's safer. It does allow the extra time to rehydrate. Just to like address what CCG is saying, why not just fight at your natural weight? Because the answer to that is
you get paid.
Yeah. So the week beforehand, okay, I've done a normal weight cut down. My weight without doing a water weight cut is 65 kilograms. Okay. Now, if I go in at 65 kilograms and fight at that weight class, then the guys in that weight division are all actually 70 kilograms and above. Do you get me? So you're fighting somebody who's water weight cutting down, and the day before the fight, their actual real weight will be 70 kilograms. Or if they, do brutal weight cuts, even possibly like 73, 74. But they've cut down in that final week to get into that weight division, and turn up supposedly on the day as a 65 kilogrammer.
Yeah.
And and the thing is, I mean, people make fun of it or whatever, fool you for making fun of it or whatever, but like the lighter weight divisions are less dangerous. It's less dangerous to fight in a lighter weight division. I don't care what anybody says.
I don't know about that. In boxing,
I think so.
There's never been. It's always the welterweights, like featherweights, that get. Johnny Owen from Wales, Michael Watson's the heaviest I've known, who got damaged. There was the guy from Scarborough with Frank Maloney. He got done. It tends to be lighter, like lots more punches over a prolonged period of time.
Boxing's a completely different game, though, Jay. I mean, you have to realize that Muay Thai is just over 5 rounds. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is why boxing is a completely different game. When this is why it's a much different thing to have to go that much different distance.
Yeah, it's more aerobic as well. I mean, you can box and not be out of breath in a way, as in you can cover up and lie on the ropes and not do a lot because you've got lots more rounds to come.
Yeah.
You can take it easy, but I've never seen a Muay Thai fight where they're doing that.
Well, so I mean, yes and no. I mean, there's the clinch, but you have to be fighting. Otherwise, the ref will break it up. Anyway, there's fighting on the ropes. It depends in which promotion and which rule set.
If I can, okay, I'll just answer a question that came a few minutes ago in the chat. What
Yeah.
does Jay think of Cassius Clay? He once fought this guy who looks a bit like me physically, George Chuvalo, just a bit of a lump, and Clay won the round without throwing a punch. Just hands by his sides, moving around Chuvalo, who couldn't catch him, and that's what I mean. I've never seen that sort of stuff in Muay Thai or MMA really, where like you can take part without doing anything.
Yeah. It depends on the promotion as well. There's a different
Right.
score. There's different scoring in Muay Thai. To traditional Muay Thai rules, you will get scored down for non-aggression. So if you are the
Oh,
fighter
really?
that's you can lose a round by just being classed as not the dominant fighter.
Mhm.
So if you play the game of I'm just going to duck and weave and make you run around after me, you can lose that round.
I see.
So it's different. It's different with Muay Thai how the scoring goes. I mean, this is the problem as well with anything. I mean, I recommend to anybody not to get involved in a sport where it ends up being people judging at the end of the day as to who wins. I think it's much better to be in a sport like snooker or something where,
Yeah.
there's no emotional judge deciding, on the day.
But it's
You know,
perception, isn't it? I mean, a computer
Perception.
doesn't have a perception or bias.
Yeah.
Human bias is, But if I just answer that question, I said I would forgot his name about Cassius Clay. Cassius Clay came around at a time when boxing was run by the mafia, the gangs, that sort of thing. And he was a breath of fresh air, physically, mentally, his whole style. So his style was, he was a light heavyweight when he won the Olympic gold medal in Rome in 1960. And his style was to stay away, jab, 1-2, move, and that sort of stuff. And it worked in the Olympics. He was a really good amateur boxer. And it's not very often that amateur boxers can transfer those skills to professional boxing, where there's a lot of harder punches, a lot of infighting, a lot of body punches, etc. But what Clay did, he was able to keep up that movement. And if you just watch him when he was in the Fifth Street gym in Miami, just moving around the ring, like he's hardly touching the ring. He was a physical, and he used to run to school all the time instead of getting the bus. So he was constantly training. He changed that later, but his physical fitness was like stupid. And that's how he beat a lot of people. Now, when he became Muhammad Ali, which was 1970, around that time, or 68, something like that, 67, he was heavier and slower, but he actually became a professional boxer then, in the fighting sense, where he stood against like real people, like we all know who they are, like the Foreman and Frazier, and he completely like took it and got punched, and he did the other thing. So Cassius Clay is so different to Muhammad Ali in style, and the fact that and also if you read about him, I imagine it won't go down very well on this, but it's fascinating reading about his relationship with Malcolm X and the black Muslims, Elijah Muhammad. I mean, I have a lot of respect for those men, at the time, and they said, "Look, you guys don't want to see it. Fine, we'll go. Can we work out a deal?" You know, they were all for segregation and try to sort it out, try to do it. And they give Clay a lot of faith, a lot of it gave Clay a higher purpose to fight for, motivation, and I think you need that in the boxing game. But just to finish on this one, Muhammad Ali wasn't that good a fighter, in that he only really fought maybe 5 brilliant fights, which is good, don't get me wrong, but he fought a lot of shit fights, and he would only just be as good as his opponent. He didn't train that well. He trained for Foreman. He trained for the second Frazier fight. He didn't train that much for the third one. And as Ali, that was his fights are terrible, and I do think that he would struggle immensely because of size and power against Mike Tyson and Fury, and even Evander Holyfield and them. I mean, it's a different game these days. There's guys who are 19 stone and lean, whereas Clay was 12 and a half, 13 stone. Rocky Marciano, Henry Cooper was like, I think Henry Cooper was fighting professional heavyweight at 13 stone too. You know.
Oh, wow.
Like, which is, yeah.
What? How many fights did Muhammad Ali have?
I think he had 60 something. He lost 5 of them. He lost against.
Was the frequency of fights more back in the day?
Oh God, every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fought in Germany.
People seem to just never fight anymore, don't they? They just seem to just like.
Yeah, then they fight somebody who's not a fighter.
Yeah.
Like,
so they're
YouTuber.
Yeah.
Ali fought in Ireland.
And what were like the picks? Because it's all down to, you know, does somebody get like layups or what? I mean, what were the picks? Who was Muhammad Ali fighting? Was he fighting top fighters every time or not? No. He fought.
I mean,
eventually you have to. This is how it goes. Eventually you have to, or otherwise, you know, it becomes clear to everybody. But for a long period of time, you can get away with like building up a record of just like fighting retards, can't you?
Yeah, he one guy was drunk.
Oh my God!
It was drinking champagne. He fought Brian London in Earl's Court. Brian London was from Blackpool. He fought a guy called Rudy Lubbers. He fought Al Blue Lewis in Ireland. He fought all over Europe. And but it was like, I don't know, different times, but there was only really 4 or 5 fighters that were any good, and Ali scraped by like a lot of them against Shavers, Ron Lyle. He didn't want to fight Foreman again. He lost the Norton fights, but the judges give the decisions, and you know, as a boxer, he wasn't as good as his reputation. You know, but at the time he did enough to win. You know, and that, I guess that's all you need do. But it was only when he had when he fought really good people, he did win. Like, apart from the first Frazier fight, but he'd been off for 3 years and he was rusty. He had 2 warm-up fights for that and looked not that great. And when he got in the ring, he couldn't move like he used to. So he had to stand and take punches and become something that he didn't think he would be. But he was tough, you know. He was quite strong. Yeah. So you know, but chalk and cheese, Cassius Clay, and Ali, and many people say who would win, and who knows. You know, I don't know, but
you know when Muhammad Ali came back from the Rumble in the Jungle? there's this famous moment where a reporter asks him. So he gets off the plane in America. He just fought in the Rumble in the Jungle, and the reporter asks him, "So what did you think of Africa?" And his response was, "Thank God my granddaddy got on that boat." That's what I think of Africa.
He hated it. He fucking hated Africa. He hated the whole thing, the water, you know, I've chatted to the guys that were at the fight. The journalist, there was Hugh McIlvanney, who was the observer. He's like probably the best sports journalist there is, because with Colin Hart from The Sun, Neil Allen from the Evening Standard, which is now defunct, but when Foreman came to London to fight on his comeback at the London Arena, I went down to the training, the sparring, and ended up in the changing room with these reporters, and I was blagging it as a reporter. I was, yeah, but
did you have a fake press pass?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
News. I just made it. Library. Plastic.
Clever.
And then as soon as Foreman, he came with Archimura as well, who was with him in Zaire. And as soon as Foreman saw these reporters, he was, hey man, like he remembered them all. And then Foreman went in the shower, and I'm sat there, like with these reporters, and not speaking to the reporters, because then that would have been obvious that I'm not part of the clan. You've got to learn not to fit in, because if you try to fit in, it's quite clearly that you don't. So you're there without fitting in. And then Foreman just come out of the showers with a towel around him, and he just talked to the guy like them for a good hour. Frank Warren was there as well, and a lot of it was about Zaire and Ali and Foreman. Like, I've heard this stuff that he says on camera, but he did say, he said, like, I thought I'd knock Frazier out in 2, I'd knock Norton out in 2. And Ali was like, he says, but when I got in the ring with him, he said that was something else. Like, I couldn't cope. Like, he was just too good, too big, and too, you know. And those are the moments that are really good to, like, for me as a boxing fan, to sort of hear. And you see these guys close up, like Lennox Lewis and stuff. And I didn't used to like Lewis at all, like his style, but up close you see him, and it's fucking like a lot of power, a lot of class as well, you know.
A lot of what? Class.
Class, Lewis, and just
really?
like just 6'6", like 17 stone, but like lean.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a unit.
Yeah. And like just utter discipline, professionalism.
But it's like when you see like that Deontay Wilder. I mean, he is ripped, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's ripped compared to like Fury, who's like fucking going in with the beer belly. I mean, what the fuck's going on?
Well, do you think it'll all catch up with him next week?
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, it's on the 21st. Here it is. Well, so I've got too many tabs open.
Oh, it's a weekend, isn't it? Yeah. 21st.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the first fight? Was it last year? Am I misremembering? It was last year, wasn't it? 2023. About a year and a half ago, wasn't it? May 2023.
Was it really? That long? That far away? I don't know. I thought Fury lost the fight. I thought his ego got in the way of him, and it was very similar to the first Ali Frazier fight.
Oh, just a minute. I'm totally misremembering. It was May of this year. I thought it was fucking. Sorry, that's ADHD brain.
Okay. I thought that Fury didn't want to look like he had to knuckle down. He was like the class clown and stuff like that. He should have won that fight, and when Ali fought Frazier for the first time, Ali did the same. He was more interested in making it look like it was easy as opposed to winning the fight. So for the second Ali Frazier fight, Ali just jabbed right cross, tied him up, jab right cross, tied him up, circle, jab right cross, tie him up. It was the most boring fight you've ever seen. So Ali just outpointed him. I think Fury might be trying to do that because if he's a lot longer than Usyk, and if he's just jabbing him at a distance, Usyk's going to have to move in. And Fury, I saw a picture of him yesterday. He looks lean in his face. I mean, didn't see his body, but I looked at him. I thought, fucking hell, is that Fury? He looked really lean, and it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to outbox him. 1-2, move around, tie him up, push him away, jab, just do that, and he can probably do that all night long and not let Usyk get involved. If they get involved, I think Usyk's capable of stopping him. But I do think Fury's got a boxing pedigree and enough sense to know if he loses this, he's finished, he's done. Like his reputation, which is wrong, but I do think that may happen, and he'll probably win a points decision by maybe 3 or 4 rounds or something in a pretty dull fight.
So you think it will go? You think it'll go the distance, and he'll win on points?
Yeah,
just from outboxing.
Yeah, I think Fury will try and do that, and because it sounds really simple, but
he got knocked down in the first one, didn't he? He got knocked down.
Oh, badly, yeah. But he was fucking about. Like he genuinely was like acting the clown. He wasn't. He was. You know. Say if you were going to spar with say you've got a nephew who's 15, and you're like the experienced Muay Thai guy, whatever. So you don't want to look like it's hard work to your family's watching, and you're just sort of like loafing about a bit. I think it was a bit like that for him, and he realised in the 12th round, and he kind of started being like serious and sensible. His character cost him the fight. I don't think it was his boxing ability. I think his character, and I suspect that he'll revert back to his boxing pedigree. So there's a certain distance where Tyson Fury cannot be hit by Usyk, but Tyson can land on Usyk, and that distance. Whereas with Wilder, he didn't have that. They were both about the same length, so Fury had to walk him down. But if Fury tries to walk him down, he's going to be in punching range, and Usyk is quick, he's nasty, and I don't think Fury wants that. So Fury's intention will be to outbox him. Whether he can and does will remain to be seen.
What do you think of people who say Usyk is the best heavyweight in the world at the moment?
Well, I'd have to say who's better, and I kind of think of anybody who's better because he's beat Fury, he's beat Joshua, he's beat Dubois. And
what do you think makes him? So, what do you think makes him the better? Because, like you said, he's not the tallest. He's not. Well, he's not. Reach.
But I say something. He's the same height as Ali and Larry Holmes, and he's heavier than them.
How tall is he? Is he 6'4"? And how tall's Fury? 6'9". Is it 6'9"? Shit! Yeah. Oh yeah, fucking hell.
And that's a lot.
It's such an advantage. It's such an advantage.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah, but Fury, I've seen him,
but it's not everything. It's not everything.
Yeah, and he can do this boxing style. It's ugly, where it's like hit and run, then hit and grab, hit and run, and he fought this guy called Brian McDermott at York Hall, and many people think he lost the fight when he was coming up, but a lot of really seasoned trainers saw Fury when he was amateur and just said he's the best they've ever seen, like his boxing ability, and his sparring partners who are no longer being used by him just say when he's in the gym and he's on form, you can't get near him. Have you have sparred with people who were taller and longer? And
oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I have with like heavyweights or even just taller, longer people, and unless you're quick or you've got the skills to get in, it's fucking miserable.
Yes. Well, Jay, that's been my whole game plan the whole way along, because like I get into like the 61.235 kilogram division being 6 foot. Which is a feat in itself, effectively.
Tommy Hearns, yeah.
So, like, my whole game plan was to get into that low division, being the taller guy. Otherwise, because a lot of Muay Thai fighters are short and stocky. But it's two opposing styles. It's not. Being tall isn't everything, but I definitely believe it's an advantage. Absolutely.
Well, you can make it your advantage, can't you? I mean, it's like being small can be an advantage, like Tyson.
I think it's much more of an advantage in boxing than Muay Thai, because like Muay Thai, you still have kicks. You can just keep teeping somebody out of range.
What do you think will happen with Fury and Usyk?
Well, I mean, I'm not the boxing aficionado. What I want to know is why does he go? Why does he allow himself to be flabby?
Because
why
he is.
Isn't...
I honestly think like he's been on a diet. He's trained. It's just his body shape. I'm similar. Like.
Right.
Some blokes are, he's out of proportion. He's tall. He's really like he's not an act. You know, there was a boxer called James Toney who was one of my favorite ever. Who he didn't used to do road work or hit the bag. He just used to spar all the time, and. If you opened his brain up, you'd just find a boxing glove in there. He was just like, he fought a middleweight, but ended up fighting heavyweight, and they just couldn't fucking hit him. And he was tough. He was like, all the old trainers used to really like him and rate him, and he was fat. He was like Lord's. I just think it's Fury's. He'll never ever have a six pack. He'll never look like he's an athlete.
Yeah.
Somebody's just wrote Gary Mason, and he was one of the nicest boxers I've ever spoken to. He sadly died. He got crushed on his cycle in South London. He had a jewelry shop, but he lost to Lewis. Sorry, Steve, that's just in the chat. I mean, that cycling.
I understand it when you get to just talking about the weights again. Like when you're heavyweight, doesn't you never have to worry about getting down to a certain weight in order to fight. So. But it just doesn't help you being a fat guy. And I'm not saying that Fury is fat, but it always was a question to me. Like when you look at, just how committed is he to being an athlete? When you look at it was most striking when he's in there like with Deontay Wilder, who is just ripped to shreds, Just.
But who won?
Well, this is an interesting point. Who won? Yeah, exactly 3 times.
Yeah. So,
So it doesn't count for
agree.
everything, of course.
I think you make a valid point with Fury. He could do better. But I do think if he was to go on a strict diet over a period of time, he still wouldn't look like an athlete walking down the beach. Yeah. I mean, if you look at his dad's probably bigger in terms of like bulk.
Yeah.
And his dad doesn't look like. Have you seen his dad fight? And he got knocked out. Henry Akinwande knocked him out at the Albert Hall.
Is that John?
John with hair, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't look like an athlete, you know. I think you make a valid point, but with boxing, I don't know. It's like it's a funny.
In the last fight, if I remember, there wasn't his shorts coming down.
Well, he wears a.
What was the reason for that? I couldn't understand why.
You know, when you put your belt on, like I don't know what they do in Muay Thai, but in boxing, it's like a cut. It's big, and it's like a massive plastic pair of underpants. It's weird. So your shorts have to go over it. And Fury seems to have his cup pulled up like really high on his body. So I think his trunks kept coming down. You know, but I don't know what'll happen in the rematch.
Those boxing shorts are really big and heavy as well, aren't they? You don't realize how big and fucking heavy those things are.
Well, it's when they get water, they get sweat on, they get heavy. Like from my really, really limited experience, like I could run, I can swim, like I can do normal athlete, like amateur athlete stuff, you know, take part and finish middle, back of the pack stuff, but at least finish, you know, ran a marathon. But Jesus Christ, boxing, like you get in the ring and your heart beats up at about 140 before you throw a punch. And it's like every action you do drains you, like to the point where after 30 seconds you've got nothing in the tank, and you're hyperventilating, you're out of breath, you're trying to pretend that you're not out of breath, you're throwing punches when you haven't got any breath, and then it's just like and your head is exploding, like with emotion, heat, fear, confusion, and then you go back to your corner for a minute, rest, and nothing happens in that minute. You just stop moving, but your heart's still like it's weird. It's like running uphill, if not worse, because you're moving your legs, you're moving your arms, and there's fear, there's adrenaline, there's cortisones flying all around your body, and you know, and I guess the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. But like for me, I used to spar quite a bit and stuff like that, but I could never understand how ridiculously hard it was physically, you know, where, you know, like I can swim for like 7.5 miles and not be out of breath, but I kind of box for 30 seconds and not be like hyperventilating.
Yeah, absolutely. The first Muay Thai fight that I had, I thought I probably could have collapsed in like round 3.
Like you can knock yourself out without
my arms were dead, my legs were dead. I don't know how that went on, and it went the full 5. I don't know how that went. I don't know how I got to the end.
Well done, man.
But just lift. People don't understand. Just lifting, your arm. If you're blocking punches, your arms and your hands are getting hit all the time. People don't realize. Just like you get dead arms, and you
Yeah.
get dead legs. And so when you see, people are like screaming at people in a boxing match or in a Muay Thai match, after like a few rounds, and like put your guard up, put your fucking guard up. You don't realize just how hard that is, just to like raise your arms and hold them in front of your head.
Well, this is it. This is what's so strange, because like if a normal person like in the chat tries standing up and putting your right arm, your right fist by your right ear, as if you're talking in the phone, and put your left hand like on your chin, sort of thing, and hold it up like that, and carry on like walking around the room. Pretty soon, the lactic acid starts to build up in the back of the arms and by the shoulder,
and then fill a sock with a couple of tennis balls and like smack. No, don't do this, but the equivalent would be, give yourself a few good whacks on one arm and then try to hold that arm up in front of your face.
Well, that's what when Leon Spinks beat Ali, that's what Eddie Futch said to Leon Spinks: don't try and hit him in the head, because you cannot, and if you can't, he takes a punch. So keep hitting him in the arms, and in the end, Ali couldn't punch, and they said it was because he was old, but no, it was hit him in the arms. Leon Spinks only had 9 professional fights.
You can get a completely dead bicep. It just doesn't work anymore. Just doesn't work.
Yeah. I took Claire boxing.
Okay.
Probably one of the bravest things I've ever done in my life, but it was quite good. But there's a rumor that she's got a mental illness or autistic or something. But she turned up with a bag, like a sports bag, with nothing in it.
What?
No, like training gear or anything. She had a bag, but she'd put nothing in it. So she had jeans on and like a blouse thing or something. And I thought, well, and this was at a gym in Holborn called Gym Box, and
that's pretty funny.
I'll be honest with you, she did really well. Like, she got in the ring, and I think I had her on the pads, and she was amazingly disciplined and obedient, and her coordination was pretty good. Like, and it took quite a bit of courage for her to do that, I think. And then we did some sort of sparring, obviously just to sort of give her the experience and stuff. And I think I kept me hands up type thing. But she was good. She gave it a go, and I think I respected that quite a bit. Like, that she could actually sort of do that.
Well done, Claire. Well done.
Yeah.
That's funny about the bag, though. I mean, what was it? Was it's like, so artistically, I'll take a sports bag just because that's what I've seen other people do, but no thought as to what to put in it.
Yeah, not. So she put nothing in it, and oh well, hell, like,
that's hilarious. Sorry,
But,
oh my god, I've seen these sports people before. They all carry a rucksack. I'll do the same.
Yeah, and I remember the night before messaging her, like, and said, like, I think she said, like, what will we do? What? And I said, oh, like, I'll introduce you to, like, the basic stance. What is the basic stance?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll show you. And I'll show you how to jab. What is a jab? And I'll show you what's the next punch. Show you a right cross. What is a right cross?
Yeah.
Go left hook. And she carried on, like, oh man, then an uppercut, then a combination. What is a combination? Like, and it's like saying, like, as she goes on now, it's just a barrage of like questions, like tons of them coming at you. And yeah, I mean, yeah, but she her coordination was surprisingly good for someone who, I mean, she's not in her youth as I'm not, but
well, she told me that she'd done karate years ago, Jay.
Ah,
So, I'll have to question her more about that, actually. So
Yeah, well, she used to have to try to dodge your grandma chasing around the table with a stick,
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
beat her. But she
yeah.
said it worked. So that's probably where, you know, she gets that one, gets that one from. So I
I
did a
mean, she co-
stream. Sorry, go on.
just a minute. She comes from. I mean, she comes from the island. I mean, Malaysia is connected to Thailand, so I mean that is like the
Oh,
island of, of fighting. A lot of people don't realize just like the skill level that is out there
yeah.
for Muay Thai, kickboxing.
With Muay Thai, like I would assume that the best fighters in the world are from like the Far East. Is that correct?
Well, Muay Thai, they're from Thailand.
Yeah, from Thailand. Yeah, yeah,
They grow up, fighting from such a young age. I mean, have you ever seen these little kids fighting?
yeah. Fighting schools. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And when you go out there, like the level of they live and breathe it. They live and breathe it, and they do it. It's almost. I mean, I don't even. It's hard to understand. I guess Thailand is. Not everybody in Thailand, obviously. You have like vast areas of Thailand that are just degenerate and whatever. But the ones who are into it, it is like the sport, the thing that they do 24/7, and they don't even question it, and they will like grow up, fighting from a young age, and so it's when a fighter's in their prime, they'll have had something like 300 fights already.
yeah. Good lord.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
it sounds crazy. I mean,
Uh,
we were talking about the frequency of fights before. I mean, people probably just don't realize the frequency of fights that you can have when you're doing Muay Thai. For instance, I have fought in a year 21 times.
wow, that's really good, Stephen.
Now, fair enough. A couple of those were, well, a bunch of those were tournaments. So,
Yeah,
but tournaments are like if you get to the end, that's like 6 fights within 3 days.
yeah, yeah.
For a tournament. So, but yeah, it's just like non-stop, constant fighting all the time.
Did you get to experience that feeling where you're kind of like in heaven, meaning like it's all just easy and you're gliding like in
Yeah,
Nirvana?
that's what you call a flow state. Absolutely. It's the only
Yeah,
times that I've ever experienced it. I've talked about this in the past. What I consider like a spiritual experience.
yeah.
The Thais, the Buddhists will call it the lowest. They call it the lowest state of samadhi.
Wow.
Whatever this means. It's like
Yeah,
the lowest state of nirvana, but you can enter it through physical exertion,
yeah.
and where you, I think I've got a small level of it just through running actually,
Oh yeah,
where
man. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you run and you run to the point of exhaustion and you keep going and you manage to keep
God.
going, and then you realize once you've like broken through that barrier, you realize I could just keep going now. Like a
Yeah.
minute ago I was exhausted and about to collapse, and I've broken through, and now I could just keep going like for hours. It's amazing.
Wow. I think I get
Yeah.
that in a strange way. I got it the day I was in the sea, and
Yeah.
and it's obviously cold, and you get like hypothermic, but then suddenly it all becomes fine, and that's apparently the time to get out when you start thinking it's good. Like you're in
Yeah.
like freezing cold water, waves, and the whole thing, and it's cold
Yeah.
outside and whatever. But you walk down to the beach and it's cold, and you're not looking forward to it. It's grim, and then you get your clothes off and you're cold. But as you're walking towards the sea, you start to sort of get ready. I don't know, and then you get in, and it's not easy. Far from it. And then you get like cold, and suddenly like you get warm as you get used to it. And I think it's endorphins or morphines that your brain's kicking out, and then you suddenly like, you know, you're swimming under the water. It's no longer cold. It's not warm, but it doesn't hurt you anymore, and you've conquered it. And you're in, and it lasts a few minutes. Then suddenly the cold comes on you like really quick, and that's when it's dangerous because your shoulder seize up. But I would say that every day I sea swim, I get that feeling. But it's not from exercise, but it's from the body kicking out some fucking good chemicals, like it, and you get out and you're like not delirious, but you're pretty hot. You're pretty hot.
You're not still sea swimming, are you? This time of year?
Yeah. I was.
Oh, for real? No way. Oh my
Yeah.
God. What's the sea temperatures at the moment? It's like 5 degrees or something.
No. It's much warmer than that. It's about 6.
Oh.
I think it's about 7. I mean, it's the North Sea.
Just for comparison, in case anybody doesn't go swimming. If you go to like a pool, so like I am a lifeguard, I think our pools are 32 degrees or something.
Yeah. You can boil an egg in them.
Yeah. And technically, right? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You might think this is crazy, but technically, if somebody stays too long in the water, even in a public swimming pool that's hot and heated, you can get hypothermia.
I know
because your body temperature is like 38 degrees.
That's it.
And if you're in water that's only like 30 degrees, even though it's warm, you know, that your body being fully immersed can like really like suffer a temperature drop. It sounds bizarre, but
but that's how some old people die. They get in the bath, they can't get out, and that your body likens itself to the temperature of the water, which is less than what you need to survive.
But 5 or 6 degrees, I mean, fucking hell.
Hey,
Natman Prime says that it's called near death, that feeling.
I did the last year I did the Scottish Ice Swimming Championships, and it wasn't too bad. But for the training for that, we went up to lakes. There's some lakes around here when the sea only goes to about 4, if not 5.
Yeah.
Because of the salt and the movement, it doesn't freeze. But lakes obviously can freeze. But we went up to a lake and it was 0.5. I mean, I'll send you a video where like you're literally smashing the top off the water to get in, and fuck, man, like that was, it burns you. It's that cold. And I'm with a good bunch of people. Like one of the guys is the world record holder for the ice mile, like for his age group,
right,
and stuff like that. Like like really high up army stuff, and like you need to be with people who know what they're doing. But I remember getting in and like, like it burnt me. It was that cold, and then you've just got to like force yourself to get in, and you can't get used to it because it's that painful. Like, that was too much. I'll be honest with you. That was like I thought I don't really want any more of that. Like, there's no, the bravado and the ego says no, I'll give in. Like, I don't want to be doing that, but yeah, I swim most. Tomorrow it'll be 11:30, and that's high tide. Wednesday, 12 o'clock, high tide again. It's flat, 0 to 1, the waves, and I'll be in swimming, and yeah, it's free, it's good. I swim with like loads and loads of like nice people, and they are. It's good. It's good. I'm getting more into it. I think it's more valuable. it does reset you. You go, it changes your perspective. Like you come out, and the world does seem to be a better place. Like you feel full of vigor, and you get a lot more done. But
Yeah.
it's not cold yet. It doesn't get cold till February, really.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, the sea is about 2 months. Like September, October can be the warmest month of the year for the water. It takes that long to heat up.
There's a lag.
A
Yeah.
lot, yeah. But you know, but
And is there always somebody else with you when you're swimming in the sea?
90% of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice to go on your own, and I know I know enough to be really safe. So that's pretty good.
Have you practiced, Jay? Have you practiced like imagining that you got complete cramp
Yeah,
in a leg?
yeah, yeah. Well, after
Okay.
swimming a few mile, I do get cramp.
Right.
But yeah, I can swim on my left side. Sorry, I can swim on my right side really well with both my legs like stretched out.
Good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I've practiced that. But it's all pointless if you're panicking, as you
Yes,
probably
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Drowning is
I had to
about panicking.
I had to pull a woman out 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, panicking with a cramp in her leg.
Was she out of her depth?
She was in the middle of the deep end, yeah, but just started panicking. So just big cramp all down one leg, and
God,
they just panic, thrashing around, and you just don't have time to think about it. You just have to go in and get them.
what?
So
How do you get them out? Because like we have this thing where like we look out for each other, but we've never seen it where like if someone is panicking and screaming and all of that, like we're not supposed to go near them because they'll grip us and they'll do a Muay Thai on us. You know,
a
no,
jiu-jitsu.
the RNLIs, yeah, don't go near them. Don't go near them. Like
Yeah.
unless you're like in depth and they're not, like they might be 4'5" and you're like 6 foot. So there's a point where you can hit the bottom, but
Well, well, the difference is that you have a 1,000 pound float with you, so as a lifeguard. So this makes
yes,
a huge difference. You jump in, you go to the shortest distance of the pool. You dive in. You swim to them. Usually with a good dive, you're there within a few strokes.
yeah,
And then you just you have your float attached to you. You pull your float in and float under their back, and then bring under their back, lift them up on so that they're on their back, float under, and you bring them out to the side of the water.
And did she calm down when she knew you were there?
Yeah, straight away. It's
That's
panic
good.
most. It's panic most of the time. If somebody's making a big splash and or a noise, then usually they're okay.
Yeah,
The ones that you need to worry about are the ones that you're not aware of, that go under and don't come back up.
yeah. They start waving at you, and you don't realize they're in trouble.
Well, even if they're waving at you, that's fine. That's fine too. It's the ones that you miss. Like it's a busy pool and they've gone down and they don't come back up. That's all the big worry. That's why a lot of pools now have what's called a pool view system installed. It costs thousands and thousands of pounds.
What
We
is
don't have
it?
one. They have cameras that cover the entire bottom of the pool, and the lifeguard will have like full view of the bottom of the pool.
Got you.
Yeah. But at ours, we don't have that. We have a pool alarm system so before going and rescuing, you smash the alarm. That means lifeguard in the water. and immediately, like, whoever else is available, if they're not, if they don't have a watch that they have to do, there's always at least one other person, and their duty is, if the pool alarm goes off, they have to bring the crash cart in case, like, it's a cardiac arrest. So
Yeah.
crash cart, which is the it's not on a cart, it's what the defib. It's a defibrillator.
Oh, I know.
we
I've got
have.
you. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's an automated thing. We have to do training on it, and it talks to you, and you put the things on somebody's chest if somebody's in cardiac arrest, and it automatically does it and starts their heart for you.
So you have to be consciously like looking for them, don't you? I mean, like alert. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lifeguard, it's called the 10-20 rule. You're supposed to scan your area within 10 seconds, scan the whole place within 10 seconds, and get to somebody in trouble within 20 seconds. So you to notice somebody in need of rescue within 10 seconds and get to them within 20.
Got it. Got it. I've just sent you a picture. That's me in the background in my head. That was yesterday.
Wait, where have you sent it?
On X, on message. A message.
Oh, who's that?
Just one of my swinging.
Right. I won't.
That's
I
me
won't
in the
bring it up.
background on top of that wave.
Is it? Oh my
In
god.
my head. Yeah, and just this one quickly.
You don't want me to share these, do you?
No.
No.
No, but can you see that one? That was like 4:45 at night. That if you
Holy shit! So you go swimming in the dark?
yeah, that was 4:45. I mean, it's that was like I could stand up there, but you can see the white. That's
What is it
obviously
like in the dark?
dark.
Dark.
Like
Is it illuminated from the shore though,
from
or
the street, from the lights. Like
from?
you can,
Right.
you can't see much, but you know which way you need to go from the lights. So you're a bit
Got
like
it.
a seal in that sense, where you can't see anything apart from the lights. So you need to be swimming. Obviously, you walk away from the lights and then you swim in. But like
Yeah.
those waves were about 8-10 foot on the top picture, and just to be in there, as you could see, there's no splash, so it's like a waterbed. But when you're a kid and you go to the wave machine in the pool,
Yes.
well, these waves are like 5 times bigger, and it's fun. It's good to do.
I probably shouldn't say this because it's doxing, but we have. I work in a big centre, and there's a wave pool at ours too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they can be quite dangerous for small people because you can be touching the bottom and suddenly you can't.
Yeah, it's not bad in an indoor place. It's not too bad. It's a nightmare when it's full of kids on a school holiday. But yeah, it's not bad in the sea. I mean, it's just totally different. Totally different world. I'm not sure I'd want to do sea swimming, to be honest with you.
I feel like that a lot of the time. I mean, it's like running on a treadmill or running on the road. It's like that.
How did you get into it?
Foreign holidays when we were kids, like, and I learned to swim like well when I was working at a gym similar to yourself, but it had a swimming pool, and I had keys for the gym. It was in Islington, quite a high-end gym, but Virgin bought it. But it had a smallish pool, but I would go in and I learned to float like properly on the water, like a lollipop stick on top of on the stream, and once you learn that, it's quite easy to swim. I'm not quick, but I can swim without any effort. Like I could talk and swim. Obviously, you can't just use heads in the water, but like I mean, it's like walking. So I don't get out of breath. I've learned how to swim without getting out of breath. Obviously, the salt helps buoyancy, and every swim is different. The sea is different every day. It's different.
Yeah.
Like when I say challenges, it's not that it's difficult. It can be. Occasionally, I get into situations where I think I shouldn't be here, and then I can feel this adrenaline, like fear, and that's when the body doesn't. Because see, swimming in winter, it's not so much about swimming ability; it's about the ability for your body to function when it's nearly hypothermic. So the closer you get towards being dead, the less your body functions. So the brain looks after the heart primarily, and I think the brain, it doesn't. The legs and the fingers and the shoulders can go. So I know with me when I need to get out or I need to get near the shore, like so the colder it is, the closer you'll stay to shore anyway. I had it once where it's quite a bad story, but I got in the sea with my friend and she forgot her goggles. So she walked back and I was just waist height. But that took about 4 minutes for her to get her goggles and get back in. Now, I can normally go across the bay and back twice when it's like 4 degrees. But because I had that 4 minutes, so on the final comeback, it's about 250 meters. So it's like 250, 250, 250. Then on the way back, halfway, about 100 meters out, I started to, my body just stopped. It started to stop. And I panicked and thought, shit, I'm panicking. And I've panicked a lot. But you know what to do when you panic is like stop. And you feel yourself kind of sinking into the water. Weird. Like it's almost like you've put 10 stone on. And then it's like, okay, breathe. And you've got to, it's like somebody raining punches on you. And all you're bothered about is survival. And because you're bothered about survival, there's more fear. And it can snowball pretty fucking quick. So I kind of whacked my friend on her back and just said, I need to get out. I got to and you just, I can swim whilst I'm panicking. I can swim whilst the adrenaline, the heat's on. And I was only maybe, I don't know, 30 meters from touchdown, but that 30 meters fucking was big, like a big 30 meters. But I can swim, I can
You mean 30 meters from the shore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
How deep?
30 meters from where I can stand up. So when I stand up, it's still 4 or 5 foot or something.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Like it's a bay. So so I always know the quickest point of exit. Like so once you get past halfway, the quickest point of exit is where you're going, not where you've been. And but I'm always conscious of it just in case I do get cramp or stuff like that. But the worst one I've ever had was I'll keep it short, was I went in with some swimmers who it was just when I'd started doing it, when I just moved up here. And these guys are channel swimmers. They've done like the 7, like last month they swam from Ireland to Scotland, the North Channel swim, like seriously top end swimmers. So I went out with them, but I wasn't quick enough to get out with them. So they go out about 100 meters, and this is in about 6 foot waves, which are really powerful. And I couldn't get out behind the waves, like at the speed that they were. So they get out behind the waves, have a chat, have a rest, and then say, right, we'll do this. So I was stuck in the middle of the waves, and I couldn't. And I thought I'm just going to come back in, but I couldn't get back in, and I got dragged towards these rocks, and the water, a rip was coming at me, but the waves were pushing me, and I started to get spun, and I got pulled under. I didn't know which way was up, and it's like being in a washing machine. The power and noise of the water, it's like being on a fucking roller coaster. Like only you can't breathe. And then I managed to come up, breathe, and then whack. I got whacked again, and then I started to think this is not good. And then I managed to come up again, and I got hit again, and I went under, and I thought this is it, and like literally, I thought, like,
shit,
and I thought, what a waste, Jay. Like, what have you done?
Yeah, God.
Your
life flash before your eyes.
Oh, yeah, and I thought, like, of me daughter. I was relatively all right. I mean, when I say that, like, it was more about her and like that stuff. And then I came up, and I remember thinking this thought of, right, well, I might as well swim gently before I drown, and it'll be the last swim I'll do. And because I relaxed, because I accepted the inevitable, like, I stopped fighting it, and I was able to sort of swim. I don't know, like, not far, 10 meters. And I touched down, and I was like, what just happened? And I walked out onto the beach, and there was people there, but they hadn't seen, like, but I was embarrassed at what the panic I'd been in. So I jogged down the beach to make it look like I was all right. Like, male pride. Yeah. But from there, I didn't go back. The next day I went down there to try to, like, beat it. And as soon as I heard the sea, I got, like, PTSD, like, fucking shivers. Like, it was worse than the day before. Really, like, fear. And it took me, and then I just thought, I've got to go elsewhere and, like, start again. And so when I get a little bit of a bang now, like a little bit of oh fuck, like I get them, like it's like having battery acid going through your veins, and that's when I know then, like, okay. And I've had that about 20 times in the much same way as what you may get fear before a fight. Like, you get used to it and you learn how to. Tom Aspinall, the British heavyweight UFC, is probably going to fight John Jones. He talks about it really well. He just says utter fear, utter terror, but you learn to fight whilst you're feeling them feelings. And it's similar, but I'm much more careful these days, like, as in ultra careful. And the best bit of advice someone ever gave to me was, make your decision on land about going in. Don't wait till you're in before you think, I wish I'd never got in, and stuff like that. So I'm really careful these days, and I've lost the desire to swim long distances and the desire to sort of prove myself and all that stuff. So I don't wear my swim watch anymore. I just do it. It's more social,
Are you not tempted? Can I not tempt you to, like, invest in something like this? So this is it just looks like a bum bag that you wear. Nobody would know any different, but it turns into a life jacket in case you need it. So that's what it's called, the waist belt, tailor-made. It's discreet emergency life jacket that won't inhibit your movement, yet can be inflated within seconds if needed. So there's something like that.
You know something? I'll tell you how I would rather not fucking go in than wear that stuff.
You would.
Yeah. Be
I mean, it
honest
only
with you.
looks like a bum bag.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Or what else is there here? There's the swim secure toe float.
I've got most of the people I swim with wear toe floats, bright orange bags.
Are they the blow up ones like these?
Yeah, I've got one of them. I've got 3 of them. One of them's a bag. You can put if you swim from different bay to bays, you put your trainers.
You can put your
them.
phone in it. Yeah.
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 I'm not against that sort of thing, but there's a school of thought where if you start wearing that stuff, you're almost preparing for like
Yeah.
don't know, it's like wearing a head guard. Like when you don't, if I had that stuff on, I would probably swim out more. I'd probably do more dangerous things. But I know my limitations when I haven't got that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, this one couples as a dry bag.
That's it. I've got the one. Yes, dry bag, £30.96. I've got that one.
Yeah. Oh, you can get shitloads of stuff in there.
Yeah. Oh, you can put like sandwiches in. And,
yeah. All your clothes.
Yeah, I've done that.
And then it blows. Oh yeah, and then it inflates on that and acts as a float at the same time. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that.
So when you're swimming, it's floating on the water, so you're not pulling it.
Yeah. Do you wear that on your wrist?
No. With that one, you goes around your waist.
On your waist, right?
Yeah. And then there's there's a cord, which attaches like to the cord on your waist to the bag, and that. But when it's windy, that they can really pull you. That one.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's like a rucksack and a dry bag at the same time.
That would be better putting that because it wouldn't drag like when you're pulling it.
I suppose with this you could inflate. You could only inflate it if you needed it, couldn't you? Like if you got in trouble out there, you could then, blow it up.
Yeah. I mean, a man died recently, but he had a heart attack. Like he was doing a long swimming summer, quite a way out, and he had a heart attack. But
this is the kind of thing that we have. Just the.
No, they're good. Most. Yeah. Oh, Jesus! Good Lord, what is that?
It's just the torpedo boy that float type thing.
And how long is that? Like 3 foot or something?
Yeah, this is 730 millimeters long.
Wow, that's 3/4. Yeah,
70 a meter, just under a meter. So, and that just goes under somebody's back, and will lift them right out of the, lift their chest out of the water.
Yeah.
So,
no, that looks really good.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that you can have but you can overthink it, and at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the thinking is you can bring this stuff on like by being overcautious and stuff, but like if you saw, I mean, I've sent you the crazy pictures, but if you saw where
the waves look huge, I've got to say.
Yeah, but yeah, it's hard to describe. Like I know it so well, and I know when not to go in, where to go, how far to go. Like it's
and there's no currents that surprise you and start pulling you out to sea.
Oh, I've had that, yeah. But
you suddenly can't feel like you can't get back.
Like if you get pulled out, like within one of them rips, then you just like relax and like let it. They only go about 30 meters max, and You don't
Right.
fight it. I mean, I've had it twice. A lot of people are terrified of them, you know. But I've been swimming when a seal's popped up about 5 meters from me, and that was quite
Oh,
scary because it was fucking huge. Its head, like massive, and I was about 400
wow.
meters out. And this was in summer, and my friend was like, she started to panic a bit, but like, God, it's I don't know. It's a bit
You know,
like
when the current pulls you out, how quickly does it pull you out, and what happens? Do you suddenly like see the shore just like zooming away from you, or what?
No, it's when no. Tell you what it is. It's when you try to swim back in and you cannot. It pulls you out
Okay.
slowly. It's like
Right.
quicksand, but you kind of swim against it. You kind of swim back
Right,
in,
I've got you.
and if you
Yeah.
do that, it's fatal. You can't. It's almost like the more you try, the harder it gets. So you've just got to swim to the left or the right gently, like at a 45-degree angle away
Yeah,
from
I've got
the
you.
shore. And within 2 meters, you're out. It's experience, but you know, someone could say to you, like, do you not think doing this Muay Thai, you got to get brain damage? And yes, to a point, like it's a fact, isn't it? But
Absolutely. Every sport carries a risk of death, really, apart from snooker,
yeah,
I guess.
like
You know,
rugby,
most.
football to a point, like
Yeah.
injury, severe injury and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, nothing is brutal as
It's Muay Thai.
physical. Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't know how you fucking do it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Are you still keeping in touch with some of your like friends or trainers and stuff, or have you completely like
no,
cold turkey?
I've not completely cold turkeyed. I mean, I still go. The truth is, Jay, that for the last 2 years, probably say ever since I came on YouTube, I was just like winding down, and then, like
Yeah, no,
and I basically had 1 or 2 fights left in me. Basically, ever since you saw me on YouTube, I was just like convincing myself that maybe I'd get back into it, but really, I was out. I'd been out of the game, kind of,
from what I
properly.
gather, like fighters know when they're done, and like
Yeah.
they might have won their last fight. It's not about losing. It's about like you just something leaves you, like the will to fight, or you just don't want to do it anymore.
Well, also, I'd achieved what I wanted to achieve. It was like a teenage passion. Okay, it was a
Yeah,
teenage passion, and I got carried away with it, and I ended up going too far. I should have never really ended up going professional because like there's no money in it. Unless you
yeah,
unless you end up right at the top of the game in like the one championship, or really, which is like literally the only like real paying promotion. Everything
yeah,
else, like if you see people like in any of these other promotions, even like I don't know, like Isco World Champion or whatever,
yeah.
probably he's probably stacking shelves on a weekend. It's there's no money in any of these other
I
promotions
think there's possibly
whatsoever.
more money stacking shelves. Because
Absolutely.
if
There's no money in
get
it.
if you got
Don't even get your
50,000,
hotel paid.
yeah, if you got $50,000 like for a fight, for example, probably got to put about 15 away for tax, national insurance. Your trainer might take 10%, so that's 5, so that's 20 gone. Then there's your
Yeah.
training expenses. So, for example, when Muhammad Ali fought in Zaire, he got 5 million, and he ended up clearing 400,000.
Right. Wow.
So he was taxed in Africa, taxed in USA. But who was it? Tom Aspinall, the heavyweight British guy, he was saying when you're fighting like for £10,000, it costs you like twice as much as that to get fit and get sparring. Like, so even when there is money in it, it's like being music, which I know about. Like you need to be big, like big before you start making money. Especially now with downloads and SoundCloud and stuff. I mean, most of the money bands make is off T-shirts and touring now, whereas 10 years ago it wasn't. It was off like record sales or DVD sales, whatever.
Yeah, unless you get really into that. There's one of two. Well, now there's a couple of routes opened up. Like there's the one championship with Muay Thai. That's what every Muay Thai fighter wants to get into. That's Muay Thai's UFC.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's boxing or the UFC. These are the only money makers.
That's it.
It's nothing else. So fighting on undercards, in these low leagues and stuff, there's no money in it. Fighters aren't being paid, barely anything to turn up. Essentially, you are fighting, Jay, for the glory of your gym. This is how it works with Muay Thai. It's all about the gym. The gym is everything. The gym comes above everything. And so, like, even you will see, like with Muay Thai fighters, they take the name of their gym. So you're the gym, and you are announced your gym name first. Like in Thailand, it's your gym name, and then you. And
really?
Effectively, it's it's gym versus gym. It's not, and you are like just the person that's representing that gym, and they don't really care about you as an individual.
Do the fighters feel proud to represent the gym because it's
and it's effectively considered like 75% of the glory is of the gym.
Got it.
This is the culture in Muay Thai, and so but there's a lot that goes into that. In that, without the gym putting you like obviously, if you go to a fight, you need your corner men, and so the gym is the gym. Like without your effectively, if you are a fighter in a gym, then you get the services of the gym for free, and so because you are fighting for that gym, whereas other people pay to be a member of that gym, but everybody. The fighters obviously get everything for free, but the gym is like then representing you and going with you to the fights and supplying, and being your corner man, your cut man, and all this kind of stuff, which, and then the glory, and so for training and supporting.
In the fights that you had, was your corner man, like generally someone you trained with, like from the gym?
Yeah. Oh yeah, my trainer goes with it, 19% of the time.
Because I know that at the lower end of boxing, you can turn up at the venue and you don't know who's going to be in your corner.
No. My cornerman would be there 90% of the time. Would be my trainer, 90% of the time, and then one of the other guys from the gym.
Did you remember listening to instructions in between rounds, and did you actually like follow instructions, or was it all a blur?
Yeah, it's a blur, really. It depends. I mean, it depends how badly the round's gone, to be honest. But you're exhausted. I mean, there's very little that can be told of you. Remember to keep your guard up. Do this. Watch for this. Watch for that. But it's just a pep talk in between rounds, really.
Did you ever get to the point mentally where you thought you'd cracked it and you were like on the way to not so much stardom, but you'd mastered it, and then you get a rude awakening?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had that many times in different areas of life, yeah. But once you think you're there or you've nailed it, and then suddenly fucking wallop.
Yeah, the big difference with Muay Thai is that there's none of this culture of, like with boxing or with UFC, all these people who go like undefeated for,
God.
For like 30 fights or whatever. Or, like even John Jones in the UFC is effectively undefeated. He's considered like the GOAT of Muay Thai because of UFC because he is undefeated. He does have one defeat on his record, but it was a disqualification. I think he elbowed somebody in the back of the head.
That was it.
Or something like that. So he has one defeat on record, but everybody knows it wasn't a defeat. So he is undefeated. But in Muay Thai, there's none of that because you get beaten early on so easily. Everybody does. So even like the best of the best of the best of Muay Thai has like, dozens of defeats under their belt by the time, that you hear of them.
Yeah, but with Muay Thai, from what I've seen of it, it tends to go the distance at most of the fights. Is that true?
A lot of them will go the distance. I'd
Yeah.
say so. Yeah. I mean, there's a fair few number of knockouts though.
Oh yeah.
There's more. Yeah, there's a fair few number of knockouts. But the difference is that Muay Thai is big gloves. So it's boxing gloves, but
Yeah.
shorter rounds with kicks and elbows. So, yeah. And there's. I don't know if you've heard the music of Muay Thai that's played at most Muay Thai fights.
No, I don't. I don't know
Even in
that.
Europe, it's known as the Sarama, and it's this music, the Sarama, and it's this music that it's like this traditional Muay Thai music, and it gets faster as each round
right.
progresses. And so
Oh.
this is how, like, so a Muay Thai match, it's considered like a bit of a ballet where it starts slow, and so you're expected in the final rounds for them to be the the most
Oh,
intensive rounds. You're supposed to
wow.
start slow, and so like the way that you go into it is effectively like you're told, like my trainer's plan is to like go like in round one, like go at 50%, and then 50%, and then 75%, 100%, 100% in the final
Got
two
it.
rounds.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
totally different. It's totally different to boxing. Effectively, is what I'm trying to
I didn't
say.
realize that about the crescendo, like getting quicker. You'll have had that experience where you, excuse the term, but you've shot your load. You've kind of like emptied the tank, and there's two rounds to go.
Yeah,
Like,
many times. I told
yeah,
you my first fight. That was complete. Just I could have given up. Except I was out in Thailand, and I was I don't know, like you said, the pride.
oh
I think
yeah.
it was only pride, that and not wanting to be an embarrassment kicks in.
But did you think that if it's your first fight, you'd have been so like exhausted with the adrenaline like of it all?
I mean, the adrenaline is huge. I just think it was the exhaustion of just. I mean, you can train for something as much as you want, but actually
Yeah.
doing the thing is completely different. And
That's what I was trying to get across to the audience, like where you need to do it to understand the hardness of it, like the level, and also in all sport, like you get to be professional, then you get pretty good at it. And then there's those that are like consistently good. Then there's the greats. So like there's so many levels to move up from when you initially started to get to be like up there. And it's astonishingly how good some people can be at like anything.
I think the thing that takes the longest to really figure out is how to pace yourself
Yeah.
for like the full duration, and that is something that you don't anticipate. Even the first, the second, the third time, that is the thing. Pacing yourself correctly so that you have a tank available in the last two rounds, and in the last round in particular, is the hardest thing to figure out how to do, because you always exert yourself, because you're in a fight to the death. Effectively, it's a fight to the death, potentially, and so you always overexert yourself.
And it's not about it helps if you're physically fit, obviously, but even when you're at your maximum fitness, you still get exhausted. So, like, you can train all you want, but you're still going to go through that hell, aren't you, during the fight?
Yeah, sorry, I just pulled my mic out by accident then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter. Sebastian Coe said some really good stuff about. He said that like people see me on the track running effortlessly, like, but he says that every day it's like I'm throwing up. I'm like running up the
Yeah.
hills in Brighton. His dad would drive him to the bottom of the hill, then park at the top, and he'd have to run up the hill, walk back down like 8 times, like mile hills and
Mm.
all stuff like that. And what he said, which was I thought was really interesting, was just because I'm fitter and faster doesn't mean to say that I don't go through the same stuff as like people doing a park run for the first time.
Yeah.
Just because you're fit and everything, like you still have your level of going through that hell.
Yeah. I think I do understand. What was I going to say? I think I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but I don't think anybody in the chat or like any of my friends online or whatever really truly understand like the level of fitness that I had in my prime.
Yeah,
Probably. And
Did you
I
find
know
that
myself.
Did you find that
Go
going
on.
to Thailand, like the way that they lived and trained? I mean, obviously it's much more professional discipline, but is that what really got you into that shape?
Oh, absolutely, 100%, 100%. I would have. That's why I say it's a complete other level there. Like going to a gym there, where every single day, it's for 5 days a week, not but every single
10K
day, like
run.
a 10K run up mountainous terrain to the top of the Big Buddha was just the norm. Again, you go and that that starts the day. Come back, and then train on bags. Effectively, Muay Thai is all pad work. It's just like
Yeah,
with a pad guy, just calling out combos, calling out shots, and doing that for another 2 hours. Might go for lunch, and then
Jesus.
come back and then spend another 2 or 3 hours with another pad guy, or you're holding pads for somebody else, and that is the routine in a fight camp every single day for like 6 months.
So did you start to sponsor yourself when you went over there? Was it like let's give it a go?
No, I got a scholarship to go over there from
Fantastic.
what I can't talk about, but
Yeah, yeah.
uh, but yeah.
And
So,
you couldn't have achieved that level of fitness, obviously, if you'd stayed here.
well, there just wouldn't be the incentive because you're forced into the situation. I mean, the only other way that I see people having that level of commitment, Jay, is when they're brought up in a gym by
Mhm.
their, like many of the world champions of like Muay Thai and kickboxing and stuff are people who grew up in a gym,
Yeah,
and their
Mayweather,
and
Floyd
their
Mayweather.
dad, yeah, and their dad was a champion before them.
Yeah,
So they grew up being raised by a former champion who now owns a gym and runs a gym, and from like 3 years old they were crawling around in that gym,
yeah,
and then that's been their life path all the way along. And even still, people like go out. They'll go out to Asia or wherever. I don't know what boxers do, but they'll like go and do their like pre-fight training camps elsewhere because it gets you. It's like you have this like project. Then that's what you're
yeah.
there to do, and you know staves off the laziness, doesn't it? I mean, you can't fucking speak to anybody because they're all speaking of fucking foreign language. So what else do you have to do but hit bags all day?
No, I think it's good. I think it's great you went, and
Yeah.
not just for the fighting and the training. It's more just the fact you like done something with life, with yourself. It's big stuff.
Well, I decided it was, that college was not for me,
No,
and so I
yeah,
decided to go and do that instead. I mean, I went to college, but I took this year out to go and do Muay Thai
Yeah.
in Thailand.
No,
But
it's good.
Jay, I have another stream in 15 minutes, so I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
cut it
cool,
short.
cool. Are you jumping on a stream, or are you going to host one?
I've got another guest coming on at 10 o'clock.
great.
Presley is coming on. Yep, she's called Presley Benson. She's been on the stream before, and she's going to be on the show in 20 minutes. So that'll give me time to get a drink.
I will tune in and listen avidly.
Cool, Jay. I want to thank you for coming on. SJJMAS number 4. Round of applause, please, everybody in the chat.
I've enjoyed it.
All right, Merry Christmas, Jay. If I don't talk to you before Christmas,
I think you will.
Excellent. We'll have to hop on a Clay Court show together at some point.
Definitely, let's do it.
All right, thanks, Jay.
Bye
Until
bye.
next time. Good night, everybody. Bye bye. See you in 20 minutes.